The study of paranormal activities is a highly controversial field that has attracted both skeptics and believers. While some people are convinced that these events are real and have scientific explanations, others argue that they are simply figments of our imagination or the result of misinterpretations. In this podcast, we'll be exploring some of the paranormal phenomena. So sit back, relax, and get to explore the unknown with us. So we have Poonam ji who will let us know about the paranormal activities and what actually they are. So, hi Poonam ji.
Hello, Garima. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good as well, Garima.
Okay.
We're pretty.
So,
You picked a very interesting topic today about paranormal activities because I think that's something which the educated class of people are mostly in denial because they call this activity as
yeah.
a totally pseudoscience, and a lot of people don't even believe in these, the spiritual world, you can say, the spirit world, the astral world. So pretty interesting topic, yeah.
Not many people are aware of the science or the spiritual aspect behind it. So, I think who
Mhm.
better than you could tell it to us and pass the
Right.
message to our audience. So, I think we will start with the most basic topic, the most basic thing that what actually are paranormal activities or what makes an activity paranormal.
Okay, so if I have to speak a little bit from the scientific perspective, okay, there are certain nerve cells in our brain, okay, which can grasp the energies in the environment, okay. When we are born as humans and when we evolved as human beings, Homo sapiens, okay, we kind of have shut down some part of our ability or our potential to see beyond this world. There are other entities which are probably floating somewhere, or maybe their existence has been way before the human existence. And you know, the if I have to speak about now, paranormal activities comes much later. Okay, but first we need to understand what these entities are all about. We in Hinduism, we speak about our ancestors. We speak about the spirit guardians. Okay, the Christians, they talk about angels. If it's even mentioned in Islam about jinns and about angels again. Okay, even we Hindus, we believe in a lot of different entities like bhoot, ghosts. That is, so, but it's not visible to the naked eyes. It is not visible to the naked eyes because that these certain nerve cells in our brain is shut, because we don't want to be spooked out. We don't want to be creeped out. We want to live a very, very normal life. Okay. If you look into the previous history of the shamanics, also the shamanism, okay, um, the shamanics, they work exclusively with the animal kingdom. Okay, they work with the animal spirits. Okay, now, how you use these entities, whether they are in the form of energies, whether they really have an existence, whether these energies are actually paranormal in its way. Paranormal means acting paranoid. Okay, it all depends on the person and the perceivance of the eyes. Some people see it as one of the you can say an outer outcast or the outer vision of a person which can see beyond the human activity. Some people call this as invoking a specific energy within the body itself to be able to interact with these kind of energies. But whether they exist or they do not exist, go to this temple, Medinipur Balaji temple, and you will be able to actually see it. You come to the core Tantra hubs in India, where actually the core practices are done. Now there are very few, of course. You will be actually able to see people catching so-called ghosts from the deaths, from the cremation ground, from the funeral burial ground. Okay, so people, it is pretty much possible to see also as well these kind of energies, these kind of entities. I don't know how many people actually go to African jungles to be able to see these kind of activities, but they do exist. Wherein, you know, there are certain entities which are being pulled out from the feet of a person. So it is all about your belief, whether you would like to believe in these entities or not, whether you want to accept these entities or not. But then there are certain energies which is unexplainable, which probably you will not be able to see with your naked eyes, or some people can even see it with their naked eyes. Okay, but these things do exist in some or the form, some or the other, you know, energy form. Yeah.
Um, but I think, yeah, as you said, not many people can sense these energies or cannot see them with their naked eyes. But how do we know that something is paranormal?
See, anything which is unusual to the eye, we humans have been born to behave in a very civilized manner. But there are certain entities which do not understand the meaning of civilization. Like, you can't expect an animal to behave civilized,
Yeah.
right? So when these kind of entities which are not civilized, they behave in a certain manner to communicate. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the story of Conjuring also.
Yeah.
Conjuring, I think that became the hype also, and they were actually the ghost catchers, the hero and the heroine. I mean, like in real life, if you look at it. So, but then what I mean to say is, like, when you see that these entities are behaving in a certain manner which is uncivilized, but they're trying to communicate something with you in a positive or in a negative way, that becomes paranormal for us. That becomes a, you know, a little bit of out of our understanding, basically. We as humans have a very limited mindset. We can't think beyond what we have learned, you know, from childhood. So that's why a human cannot communicate with an animal, right? We do not understand the language of that animal. Likewise, we do not understand the language of these spirits or these entities which are floating all over us, all around us, basically. So that's when we start behaving and reacting and get scared, because we're not used to seeing such things or activities around us, and they become again paranormal for us. Very
Um,
simple. Mhm.
but I have seen videos where the paranormal investigators, they take a person whom they call themselves as a medium. Like,
Mhm.
they can see the spirits or the
Right.
entities, and they connect them to humans or the investigators who are investigating that particular area. So what makes them like that? I mean, what makes them have that power to sense or to see those spirits?
Okay, there are two criteria to it. Some people are born to be able to see these kind of entities very clearly, maybe because some part of their brain is hyperactive to be able to see these things. Paranormal studies is a very different study altogether. So when they teach you the brain anatomy and, like, you know, which part of the brain is active, which sensory organ is hyperactive to be able to see and recognize these kind of energies, there is one section in paranormal senses or sensory, you can say, is when you are into immense sadhana, like when you are meditating too much, when you are into too much of trance. Okay, so like they say, when you invoke one positive energy, you also invoke a lot of other entities along with it. You invoke a lot of other negative energies also along with it. Okay, and that's very normal. That is very normal, because energies are cannot be described. What kind of energies your body attracts, in what form you are attracting a specific energy, you may never know that. Either you're calling, if you're calling God, but you're extremely dirty, shabby, unhygienic, so you obviously you are not going to invoke a very positive energy towards you. You might invite a negative energy as well towards you. Okay, so even the chakras, like, the chakra is a very Western word, but even the energy centers of your body needs continuous cleansing, because when you are into sadhana, why in our sadhanas we speak about protection? You know, we talk about armor, we talk about kavach. In most of our shlokas, also Hindu shlokas, we have these shlokas, we have these, kavach and all. It was all because, the ancient sages, they knew that when you're doing certain sadhanas, you are going to invoke these energies as well. The negative, they might not be very friendly. They might try to, communicate with you because they also need something from this world, and because they find you to be the easiest connection to communicate their needs, they come to you. Okay, so this is very common. It might not happen with a lot of people. It might happen with a lot of people. It again depends on, like, what kind of a personality and what kind of energies you're invoking and what kind of, brain potential you have expanded in within you. So what do you see especially in the videos of paranormal investigators? They probably have that analysis of that energy set. Okay. So what happens usually in the paranormal activity is they will not come to you immediately. Okay, these entities would not come to you. They won't get attracted to your aura immediately. They would first notice and observe what kind of a personality they are dealing with. Okay, and then slowly and slowly they will give hints of their presence. Slowly and gently they will start giving hints to the presence, about their presence. There are these days certain machines which can gauge the paranormal activities of a particular place. And but like the people who come with natural energies, people who are like natural um, ghost catchers, you can say, okay, they can gauge these kind of energies faster with the kind of like with the type of intuition. Again, it's all about your intuition. It's all about your third eye. So when people talk about opening their third eye, it doesn't always mean that you become Shiva. It also means that you're attracting certain energies towards you, right? And your perception, your perspective of the environment changes, And with that, when your sensory organs become very hyperactive, you kind of start gauging these kind of energies around you as well. Yeah.
As you mentioned about the machines or the equipments that they use to connect themselves to the spirits, there is also something known as the Ouija board or the Ouija board that the investigators use to get connected to a particular spirit that they feel is haunting a particular place or it lives there. So, does that have a scientific reason, or what makes there's a stone or a particular object that they have that moves, with the energies around? So, what makes that move, or what is the reason behind the spirits connecting themselves through that board?
Okay, I think see, it's very simple. I think if I have to speak about the science behind this, is again there is this one medium that every energy looks for. Okay, and this Oja board basically becomes a medium. Now there were certain Greek mantras, and there were certain, even in Hinduism we have certain beach mantras. Okay, bijas and seeds, which invokes a certain type of a frequency. While I'm even talking to you, I don't want to freak you out, but then I can sense this energy because you kind of are like trying to talk about this energy right now. So they're listening to you, though they will not come and appear in front of you, but then there is this energy which is listening to you. You're sending out a certain frequency. Okay. So Oja board also becomes that frequency because it is meant for that specific purpose. The moment you set up an intention towards anything, you sit and you set up an intention that you want to see something like that, it might not come to you immediately. But the moment your intention becomes a frequency to the surrounding, to that environment, it will start attracting that kind of an energy towards you. So the Oja board says set to it because the moment you say that you are sitting in an Oja board, your intention is set, and it's, of course, it's not to play a dice game, or it's not meant for chess, right? You're going to call in a spirit. So that intention is set, and because there will be more than one or two people sitting in an Oja board, so it's a joint manifestation which is happening across the table.
Yes.
And the Oja board is designed in certain manner. It is designed in such a way to. These are some ancient knowledges probably, which is to invoke that kind of an energy to come in. So
Okay.
hence, the energy gets invoked. Yes, yes.
Um, like we usually say, the world is made up of two kinds of people, bad and good. So, is there anything known as the bad spirits or the good spirits? And if there are bad spirits that exist, do they harm us or do they try harming us in any way?
So are humans all pure and godly? I think even humans are the most dangerous ghosts. So, of course, with positive energy comes the negative energy. So there are certain bad entities, there are certain good entities. So, what do we call bad? We are calling bad to something which is troubling you. Very simple. And humans, they don't want to come out of their comfort zone, right? So anything which troubles you is bad for you. Very simple. But you need to also understand and see, are you actually disturbing their space? Or, are you like invading into their space, into their world, into their zone? Or they are in dire need of you? But they don't need you, right? That's why they don't communicate with you. Do they communicate with a normal person? They don't. They are in their own world. It is we humans have that tendency to invoke certain energies. Sometimes we do it knowingly, sometimes we do it unknowingly. There is a very there is a sadhana in tantra which is called as niche kotika sadhana. Okay, so why we call the niche kotika sadhana is because this particular sadhana invokes the energy from under the ground. Okay, so wherein like and there is a specific sadhana which is called, it's a Karana Pishachini sadhana. Again, what is Karana Pishachini? What we've given a name to it as Pishachini. Pishachini means what? Anything which attaches itself to our body, get attached to our body. Now, some people, and it has that capacity or that energy to be able to give you the predictive analysis, probably the predictive analysis, okay, predictions, analysis of a particular situation and incidents. Okay, Karan Pishachini, this particular energy is helping you to make predictions about the future. It says that some people say that I have never done it, but then I've heard from people and those people who have manifested current Pishachini. So you have to be dirty all the time to attract this energy towards you. And it sits somewhere in your ear, left ear, and it will talk to you. Okay, and it will tell you what is going to happen next. It kind of gives you predictions. It will tell you where there is a gold or diamond or whatever. Like, it kind of gives you these kind of information as well. And then Pishachini can also be used to harm somebody because you kind of get to know the weakness of that person, of your enemy through that entity, through that Karan Pishachini. Likewise, there are certain sadhanas in Tantra which is to acquire wealth. To know the future, of course, is one. To harm your enemies is another. To destroy somebody's life is another. Of course, these bad energies, they do exist, and these bad energies, if they are tamed, they can do well also for you. They can do good for you also. So, but then it is again negative for somebody else. So we humans have this experimental nature to get into all these things. And you can say that yes, there are good and bad energies both. Like there are certain people who even speak about jinnatis, and they get attracted to a woman's body. What do you call that? They call it the lover's jinn. Pyar mohabbat wala jinn. They will get attached to your private parts.
Okay.
Okay. Have this iftiar jinn also, which is the king of all jinns. Okay. So Islam has a different understanding that these jinns have appeared from the flames, from the fire, and they were before us. Like their existence was way before us. So Allah first created these jinns, and then humans were born. Okay, much later. So they have their own astral world, we have our own world. They don't disturb us unless and until you are very dirty and hygienic and you tend to attract negativity. If you're not taking bath for many, many months and years, which usually people do to manifest negative energies, because negative energies will, um, it will help you manifest your mayas or the materialistic pleasures faster. To worship maybe Ma Durga or Ma Devi is going to take many, many years. But to manifest something which is negative in Kali Yuga is very fast. So these kind of things do happen, and yes, it all depends on, of course, the sadhak. It also depends on certain people who are actually have that, clairaudient or clairvoyant energies or clairvoyant powers in them to be able to see these kind of entities. There are certain people that I have met in my journeys. Is some people like they say that Devi has entered their body and then they will do all sorts of dances and
Yeah,
all. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know for sure if this is actually happening or it's just like kind of a dual personality that they have acquired. Because just because they want to prove that they're the greatest bhakts of Devi and they have taken in that energy so much that they are not able to even control what is inside them. So they are attracting that what is external. And they ultimately become like that, wherever they're going and they are like behaving a certain manner and like they're like they want to prove that Devi has entered. It can be true to some extent. It could be some there could be dual personality disorder also associated with it. Yeah.
So, as you mentioned about the jinns entering a certain human's body, so why do they enter? Is that they want to show something to the world and they were looking for a medium, or what could be the reason? Because, like we or people, they sense energies like that.
Mhm.
When the paranormal people they go somewhere where they think the place is haunted, and like they see signs or the signs are shown by the spirits. But why do jinns have to enter a living person's body and take
Mhm.
that body in their control and then control the body? So what is the reason behind that?
If humans want to control ghosts to get something out of them, why can't ghosts do the same thing? Yeah, they also have certain needs. They also want to, probably communicate something to the world. Now, what they want to communicate to the world is probably their way of looking at things. I mean, that cannot be gauged. What they want unless you are actually an investigator and you try to find out what exactly the psychology behind this entity that is trying to communicate with you. Um, Now, if when you've mentioned this one thing very clear, one thing that why do these jinns sit in the certain areas of a person's body? It's because it's a very clear symbol because they are attracted to your body. They are
Okay.
attracted to the fragrance of your body, and because we as humans we emit a kind of a fragrance, right? So that fragrance, if it is attracting a certain energy, it means that dude, you need to take a bath. You seriously need to be hygienic. Okay, so and like these gyms, they might exist in dirt, they might exist in the most unhygienic place, around you. So hence they say that the environment has to be cleansed so that you don't attract these kind of energies inside you. Why is Bhumi Pujan done? Bhumi Pujan, it's a very simple understanding because we don't know what is there under the ground many, many millions and millions of years back. Who died, what died, how many decomposition has happened. We do not know all of that, right? And hence this is very important that we kind of do Bhumi Pujan because all these negative entities are somewhere under the ground. And they kind of like the moment they see that you have a frequency, a certain frequency, good or bad, they will try to communicate with you. So I have also seen certain entities, they try to communicate with good souls because probably they're stuck somewhere in the astral world and they want moksha, for example. So they kind of like, or some, desire that is still pending.
Hmm.
So that's where the mediumship comes into the picture. Auto writing, wherein like this ghost is communicating with this auto writer and he writes the desire or the goals of that particular, that medium, that ghost, that spirit, and it is passed on to the loved ones. to accomplish it, to get it done. So yeah, so I mean, like there are all sorts of entities. There are all sorts of energies, good and bad.
So if somebody encounters a bad spirit, and like as you said, that if we are trying to get answers, that's when they react, and normally they don't show their presence. But like if we do something against them or something that they don't like, so do they try to harm, and if yes, in what way?
They like us, even they are very sensitive to you. So they're very sensitive to humans. Okay, they kind of understand what human they can target to get their job done. Okay, very simple. So this is a kind of a so what you're talking about is exotism, which became a hype again in the Westerns. I will tell you one story, a small story which actually happened in Pune many years back. I think that will answer your question. So there was this one retired family, okay, husband and wife. They just recently came and settled in that house, not knowing what was there in the house. It was not getting sold, but then they bought it because it was closer to the nature. They did every puja. They did Bhumi Pujan. They did all sorts of puja, Shanti Puja, and Satyanarayan Puja, and everything. And even that sir, I mean the husband was a bhakt of Hanumanji.
Okay.
So he used to get Sundarkand done every 6 months in the house. So the moment they shifted into that house, they all of a sudden something happened and they stopped doing puja. After a while, they just stopped doing puja. Okay, for some reason, and every time they used to place a deity or place a murti over there, something or the other went wrong with the house. So though uncle, I mean that sir was not a believer of all these paranormal activities, ma'am, like the wife was very very sensitive to energies. So she started going to these priests, and she went to the churches, and she started going to these dargahs to take a consultation from people. And every time she brought somebody, they would extract money from her, do some puja, mantra tantras over there, but nothing used to work out in that place. So things went so haywire that she became paranoid. She got so scared. I mean, like she creeped out, she freaked out. And in the night, she used to wake up and she used to, crawl like on the floor, crawl, like literally crawl. So I remember this case had come to a few pundits of a Shiv temple, which is like decades old. And they went there, they did some puja, parts, and everything, but it did not fruitify, okay, into anything. Again, in a couple of days, mom became paranoid. Okay, she kind of like started behaving. She started like speaking weird things in weird signs and weird languages. So everybody thought that she's been possessed, and she's probably reacting because there's some spirit in the house. Okay. One fine day, I mean, like there was this one of the doctors, and he was a paranormalist. He was a paranormalist investigator, and at the same time, was a psychologist too. So he went there and he spoke to this lady. They had this conversation, and this lady, she kind of said that she used to see some sort of energy of a lady in her dreams.
Okay.
And this lady, she used to communicate with her that she needs help. We don't know what kind of help that she needed, okay, but then she kind of said that she needed help. Now there was this later on when there was a lot of investigation that was done around that house. They came to know that that place was actually on a burial ground. There were many years before there was this one burial ground there. So they did a proper Mahamrityunjay yagna over there with like 12 people, and for the first 3 or 4 days, none of the pundits were able to even move from their place. They got freezed, but they kept on like doing the chants. They kept on doing it, and then eventually that place got free of these kind of appearances, and like that ma'am, the ma'am, she recovered completely. She became all right. She became okay. So what we see negative, sometimes probably that ghost was trying to communicate that release me off to this place. That release me. I mean, I'm trapped somewhere in the astral world. So just release me from here. So that was what the communication was happening. but because the lady was so scared, and these kind of energies, they try to come and attack those people with a little with a weaker mental strength. They will try to connect more with these kind of people. Hence, Hanumanji is chanted, Chalisa is chanted too, because Hanumanji gives you mental strength.
Yes.
Hanuman Chalisa is usually, and why Ma Kali is also considered when such kind of activities are done, because Ma Kali again gives you mental strength. So it kind of attracts those people who get scared easily. So these energies try to cover them up, cover their soul basically, and they will attach themselves to the outer aura of that particular person. So this is a real incident that I'm talking about. In fact, this has actually happened. Later on, the mom, she was shifted to a hospital when she went through therapies and she recovered completely. So
I think
yes,
जैसे एक saying होती है कि जिसके साथ होता है वो ही मानता है या सिर्फ उसी को पता होता है कि what really happened.
हाँ हाँ, ये सब मानने की बात है. मानो तो नहीं, मानो तो ठीक है, नहीं मानो तो भी ठीक है. It's all about your belief system. I believe in it because I have seen it with my eyes. I've
Yeah,
seen.
I was getting to that. Have you experienced anything? Or,
I have seen it. Yes, I have experienced it because I deal with negative entities also. Somewhere I deal with, I don't mean black magic here, but it means that I've seen these things, these kind of things, because when you go to Shamshan Ghat, you kind of like when you are doing your sadhanas, you kind of attract certain energies towards yourself. Like I said, I have not seen a ghost, but I've seen people performing exorcism. I've seen people how they behave when these kind of energies, they attack them. I've seen these kind of things. I have felt the presence of certain energies around me. Even I'm very sensitive to energies. Maybe it's all because of the sadhanas that I do. And it's very normal, I think. Even a normal person can perceive certain energies in the environment, but because we don't want to believe in them, because we don't want to see these things, they freak us out. So we shut our mind, we shut our brain. We don't want to manifest these things. So hence we kind of don't see them. Yeah.
I think that's all, and I think these sessions helps me personally clearing my mind, because I think I myself would have never thought about these things from a science perspective or from a spirituality perspective. So I think sessions with you especially, opens up the mind and opens up a lot of perspective to see certain things around that, those happen.
Right.
So
Right.
this was another great session, a
Thank
great
you.
topic to discuss about, actually, because not many people believe and not many people know about it, and I think that's why they don't believe. So
Right.
when people get to know things, maybe they'll start believing it better.
One thing I would like to mention here is, like, before we end this discussion, is especially for the young millennials and Gen Z people who are very, very, intrigued with or inquisitive about the astral world. They speak about astral world and astral projection because it all sounds very fancy to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to be really careful out there, because
I
there
think
are
there are a lot of challenges that people try to perform, and they think it's very cool if you encounter something like that, because not everybody has the mental state of doing that, and there are a lot of challenges that people just do it with fun. Ki mila to mila, nahi to it's okay. So I think that's what people should stop doing.
right, absolutely. So energies are not to be messed with. They're not. You're not supposed to mess with energies. And if at all you're practicing meditation or like something which is very intense, then please seek a guru. Please seek help from somebody who has an experience to deal with these things. Rather than you practicing, watching the videos on YouTube and feeling inquisitive and to experience the astral world. Okay, there are so many music, in fact, subliminals even available on YouTube. of certain frequency,
Yeah.
experience astral world, raise your vibration, meet God, love vibrations. So these things can actually be very dangerous because you need to understand if your body is ready to take that kind of a frequency or not. And what if suddenly the Kundalini awakens and your brain becomes expansive and you start seeing these kind of entities around you? There will be nobody to save you and you will go paranoid.
Yes. So I think on this note, we'll end this that don't do something that you don't know about. Yeah,
Exactly.
to know everything and then do it, yeah, just don't do it at all. So,
Yes. Half knowledge is dangerous. Yes.
so thank you so much for sharing so much with us and letting us know about things we would never have thought about.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.